Welcome to the Audiobook Lovin Series, a month-long event celebrating the authors and narrators that bring romance stories to life. Listen along as Viviana, Enchantress of Books, interviews your favorite writers and voices, shares special guest posts, and stay tuned for some special information at the conclusion of the episode.
Hi everyone, I'm Whitney Dykhouse, and I will be talking to you today about my top 5 reasons for being an audiobook narrator. Brought to you by Audiobook Lovin, hosted by Viviana, Enchantress of Books. Reason number 1, I get paid to read every day. My mom always tells me that when she thinks of me as a child, she remembers me sitting in the middle of my bed, surrounded by every single one of my books, reading them out loud, or at least reciting what I had memorized because I wasn't old enough to read, to my stuffed animals who were my captive audience. So I have always loved books, I have always loved reading, and I have always loved getting lost in a story. Reason number 2. Theater. I grew up in the theater. I grew up loving theater. I was raised on Andrew Lloyd Webber musicals, and my parents always exposed me to the wonders of theater and performing, and I love that I get to perform every day and bring these stories to life. Reason number 3. Words. I'm a huge language nerd. I love words, I love etymology, I love learning where words came from and how they evolved and how they continue to evolve and why we call things what we call them. I love being bilingual. I speak English and Spanish, and one of these days I'm going to find the time to teach myself French and Italian, and I just love words and languages and the connections that they provide to the world around us. Reason number 4, accessibility. I went to school to be a teacher, and it was never my intention to be a voice artist full-time. I got involved in voiceover work in 2003 when I was 15 years old. And if you're sitting there doing the math, I am currently 34. And it's really hard to believe that I've been involved in the voice arts industry for over half my life. I started out doing radio commercials and industrials for things like CD-ROMs and software like that. That really dates me right there, talking about CD-ROMs. And I made some money to put towards college, and it was always just meant to be a fun little side gig for me. I went to college to be a teacher, and although my life took a different turn, and I taught for about 10 years before deciding to become a full-time narrator, I miss my students every day. And I taught English, Spanish, communications, and theater, and one thing that all of those subjects had in common was books. While I was teaching, I saw firsthand the importance of not just being able to read a book, but to listen to it as well. And audiobooks bring media to an entire world that may not otherwise be able to enjoy them by making them audible and making them something that can be heard and felt through an entirely different medium other than print, which I think is absolutely awesome. Reason number 5, my husband. We met doing theater, and we are both actors. And we both had careers that were not in the arts. I was a teacher and he was an IT professional. And one thing led to another, and we had built our business. And we both now work as full-time audiobook narrators and producers. And I could not do what I do without him, and I know he could not do what he does without me. So every day that I get to spend telling stories is a reminder of the awesome story that my husband and I are writing together every day. Thank you so much to Viviana for having me today, and thank you, all of you listeners. Please continue to enjoy Audiobook Lovin' and all of Viviana's amazing, amazing content, and please have a fabulous day. Happy listening.
The Audiobook Lovin' podcast has special Patreon incentives. Join today to receive early access to podcast episodes, exclusive content with our guests, and much more. Support the podcast by becoming a Patreon at www.patreon.com/audiobooklovin. Thank you for your support. Thank you for joining us on the Audiobook Lovin Series, hosted by Viviana, Enchantress of Books. We hope you have enjoyed this episode as well as the series. We've included audio samples of our guests' work within the post for you to check out. Please make sure to visit the main page, link within the post, to learn more about the series, the authors, and the narrators. Please consider leaving a review wherever you listen to this series if you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to follow us on our social media platforms and subscribe to the Viviana, Enchantress of Books newsletter. Until next time, happy listening. Audiobook Lovin' hopes you've enjoyed this program.